The United Republic of Tanzania, the land of the Kilimanjaro, the Serengeti and Zanzibar, is strategically located as a gateway to East Africa and the African Great Lakes region. A rising star, Tanzania is a middle-income country that has averaged 7% economic growth over the last decade. It has a population of about 60 million, the majority of whom are young and economically active, and part of a rapidly growing middle class. Accessible through the Indian Ocean, Tanzania connects to 6 landlocked countries. It also offers access to a sizable market of about 177 million people in the East African community and 350 million people in the SADC region.
Welcome to Tanzania, the land of opportunities. The government is committed to maintain and strengthen ties with the international community. We'll continue to maintain good governance, political and economic stability, which have been our national values. The government is undertaking a number of legal and regulatory reforms to unlock the country and make it potential investment destination. These reforms include investment tax and information technologies regimes. The government is focusing on improving coordinated infrastructure, not limited to cleaner energy provision, railways, roads, ports, and optical fiber network. All these will add to the improvement of investment environment. As we open doors to the world, we believe that with efficient transport system, enough and affordable electricity, coupled with friendly regulatory regime, Tanzania is offering the best opportunity for investors to thrive. Welcome to Tanzania, the land of opportunities.
The Tanzania Investment Center hosts more than 10 government investment facilitation institutions, offering a one-stop center that can give approvals, permits, and licenses all under one roof, easing the process and saving time and other resources pertaining to setting up a business in Tanzania. Agriculture is the mainstay of Tanzania's economy. There are over 44 million hectares of arable land, and only 33% of them are under cultivation. Some of the potential areas to invest in include sugarcane plantations, cotton, coffee, tea, cashew nut and grape farming, horticulture farms, sisal plantations, wheat plantations, as well as bean and cassava farms. One can also invest in the processing of these crops for export.
Tanzania is the second largest livestock producer in Africa, but only 1% of the livestock is processed into value added. About 70% of the high-end value-added meat products are imported. There are very few companies in Tanzania like this which are producing value-added products for the industry. So there is huge potential here in Tanzania.
The manufacturing sector is in its infancy stage, with few exploited areas, whereby unprocessed agricultural commodities have dominated major exports. Tanzania's Vision 2025 envisages an industrialized economy powered by the manufacturing sector, and as such, opens up the country to potential investment, particularly in the area of textile and apparel, sugar, leather, edible oils, heavy industries, pharmaceuticals, tile manufacturing, cable, and plastic manufacturing. A 1,424-kilometer-long coastline, including 3 large lakes, presents a virtually untapped opportunity in fishing. Opportunities lie in deep-sea fishing, fish farming, fish processing, and supply of fishing gear, just to name a few. Tanzania's wealth extends well beyond the surface. Tanzanite, a gemstone found nowhere else in the world, is testament to the country's mineral riches. Other minerals include gold, coal, diamonds, copper, nickel, cobalt, tin, lead, silver, uranium, rare earth metals, ruby and sapphire. Investment opportunities exist in the areas of exploration, mining and processing. Tucked away in Tanzania's 48.1 million hectares of forests and woodlands is investment gold. One can invest in industrial plantations, and commercial harvesting can be done in 20 million hectares, equal to 35% of the total volume of forests in the country. Discoveries of significant natural gas reserves in recent years present an opportunity to invest in LNG extraction, further adding to Tanzania's long list of investment opportunities. Doesn't end there. The country's helium deposits in the west of the country are large enough to meet the world's demand for the gas for 20 years. Tanzania is a tourist paradise. New accommodation, entertainment facilities, camping, lodges, and guest houses of international standards. All these are untapped opportunities. Connectivity is key to Tanzania's ambitious growth objectives. The country has invested heavily in the development of its infrastructure, including road networks, railways, air travel, and ports, which connect all regions in Tanzania, as well as 6 landlocked countries. And in ensuring a conducive investment climate, the government has invested in the Julius Nyerere hydropower station, expected to generate 2,115 megawatts, providing reliable and affordable electricity for the entire country. While in Tanzania, investors can enjoy prosperous living in the bustling cities and in the countryside. One can access world-class amenities such as schools, state-of-the-art hospitals that are fast turning the country into a premier medical tourism destination, as well as financial institutions. Having reached middle-income status, the Tanzanian government aims at soaring even higher, establishing the country as a favorable investment destination and an industrialized nation that provides a high quality of life to all its citizens. Due to very attractive opportunities and favorable conditions, major international brands have already invested in Tanzania as part of their strategy to maximize on wider regional markets and other opportunities. Come and invest in Tanzania.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm incredibly excited about today. We've been waiting on this for some time, planning for today, and just placing ourselves in a position to share some really cool information with you all. I'd like to start by just sharing an agenda for today. You all just finished watching the video. Our agenda will unfold as you see here on the screen. I'll provide the welcome, which I'm doing now. We'll talk a little bit about the why Tanzania and why now. And I thank you, Ms. Mark, for being a part of this morning as head of the Chancery, or in your capacity today as acting ambassador. So thank you for being here and sharing some information with us. We'll talk about the industry overview of North Carolina and Kentucky. And our very own Leah Henry, who is leading our Research, Policy, and Impact Center, will share information with you about that. I'll come back and talk a little bit about targeted participants and the general attendance that we're expecting to go with us on this amazing trip to come. Logistics will be shared with you by Kay Gant, who is COO of the Institute. And then we'll come back and talk about next steps and follow up with some Q&A. I will share with you as we're going through the presentation this morning. If you have questions, feel free to share those in the chat box. And Linda and Vanessa will be looking at those questions, and we'll field those at the end. And so let me talk a little bit about the Institute and why we're engaged in this process, in this new venture. For 38 years, the Institute has been that guiding light talking about economic development issues as it relates to minorities and women. We do a lot of that work through our mission, which is strengthening the asset base of diverse populations through the policy work that we do, educating our clients in the community, and then providing economic opportunities as well. And so that's why we're really excited about this, because it gives us an opportunity to now evolve. We have been really focused on nailing down how we do that work internally through these 4 lines of business. Our Research Policy and Impact Center, which is always collecting data and understanding the facts. The Center for Entrepreneurship, which is where many of our minority and women-owned businesses connect with us first by providing capacity building to them and supporting them as they grow their business. Our Center for Community Investment is where we provide financial resources around affordable housing, around minority and women-owned business growth. And so it's important that you all have those financial resources available to you. And then in this case, our Center for Strategic Partnerships is here to do this kind of work, connect with government agencies, connect with corporations, and make sure this whole ecosystem works well for all involved. Now, you see on the right side, our footprint, and I'll say our official footprint. We have an unofficial footprint as well. You all know we're the National Institute, which means we have this national reach, which soon will be an international reach. And I have to say, none of this will be possible without the work of Ambassador Kanza connecting with us to think about what an international reach would look like. Syed being with us on this journey to make sure we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Rhonda providing this vision for us to think about how we connect through sister cities on an international level. So thank you, Rhonda, for helping us think through that and coordinating this with us. And there's no way this would work without the Institute staff, Kay and Vanessa and Linda, who help us put all of this together, as well as my VPs who provide the resources and support as well, John and Leah. And so we're all here, hands on deck, to make sure this works well for all of us. And so the Institute's role in all of this is really an evolution for us. Instead of us just thinking about how we have over the last few decades focused on convincing corporations and government entities to do business with minority and women-owned businesses, which we feel is the core of what we're doing, we now have an opportunity to evolve that into a much bigger role as a collaborator with government agencies, now with Tanzania, to make those connections, help with the opportunities that are available both in America as well as in Tanzania, but also identifying the diverse businesses and connecting them with the areas of opportunity according to the services and products that they provide. So we do a lot of that vetting in-house, which assures the minority and women-owned businesses that we're connecting them in the right way, but also assures the corporations and the government entities that we've got the right partners who are ready to do business at the right time. And then lastly, we have to make sure the diverse businesses are ready. And when I say ready, I mean they have the capacity, they're in the right seat, in the right bus at the right time, if y'all remember that. And they also have the resources that they need, which is why we have a community development financial institution in-house. We think that's important that we have all of these elements work together. So if we're collaborating, we're aligning the businesses, and we're supporting the businesses, we think that's the right mix for us to be successful. And so I'm going to stop there and allow several others to share some additional information about our amazing trip to come to Tanzania.
Yes, thank you. We're happy as Sister Cities International, as a country rep for Tanzania. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to collaborate with NIMED on this effort for economic development to share information. The summit itself is designed to connect the U.S. MWBEs and Tanzania corporates. Our effort is to collaborate between the U.S. corporations that are interested in or doing business in Tanzania, and how this provides information regarding the procurement of processes in Tanzania. We like to share resources available from the U.S. government. So Sister Cities, we're a citizen diplomacy organization. For those of you that don't know us, we are actually having the opportunity to make those connections. So we are presenting NIMED to different government officials and organizations that they may not have connections to in Tanzania, as well as within the U.S. government that are working on trade, international trade for exports. This opportunity has given us a U.S. Department of Commerce, U.S. Department of State, the Tanzania Embassy, as well as the U.S. Embassy and the American Chamber of Commerce in Tanzania, the opportunity for collaboration between us all. Next slide. We have these upcoming webinars. This is meant for opportunity to discuss specifically to the North Carolina and Kentucky contingency that NIMED has, and as the next one comes in, we'll be discussing Virginia and West Virginia, as well as Maryland and DC, and then there'll be an open call nationwide. We do understand that many of you that may be on this call may not be affiliated with any of those states, and that's fine. But we wanted you to know up front that the target information will be specifically for those states. But it's great for you to be here. You're welcome to join us at any of these webinars through the rest of the year. We will continue to have some more webinars for you to join, and other opportunities to learn about exporting and working with businesses in Tanzania. Targeted industries, as you saw it in the video, is healthcare, manufacturing, technology, agriculture, travel, and tourism. We're excited about this opportunity as a sister city country rep for Tanzania. We actually have multiple cities in the U.S. already connected with sister cities in Tanzania, and we're continuing to grow. And so the opportunity for economic development is very strong and necessary for this time. And so we're happy to be collaborators. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Chancellor Eva Mark. She is here to represent, she's acting as the opportunity for us to hear from the ambassador. She's on behalf of Ambassador Kanza. She represents the Tanzania Embassy. She will be sharing with us why Tanzania. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. Good morning and good evening to those in Tanzania. My name is Eva Ngitu. Well, Eva Mark Ngitu, because it shows here Eva Mark, but the surname is Ngitu. Usually the head of chancery at the Embassy of Tanzania, but today I'm participating as a acting head of mission, or in diplomatic terms, we say chargé d'affaires. First of all, I would like to thank National Institute of Minority Economic Development and Sister Cities International for cooperating with us. And I would also like to reaffirm our full support and cooperation to these two great institutions. As Rhonda have already said, I'm going to talk about why doing business in Tanzania and now. So Tanzania is one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa. The average during pre-COVID era, our average GDP growth rate was at 6.9. It was like that for almost 10 years or more. But due to COVID, it slowed down as it was in so many other countries. And right now we are recovering, and our post-COVID economic growth is at 5.3%. It's one of the highest in Africa. And our GDP grew from USD 69.9 billion in 2021 to USD 85.4 billion in 2023. So in just 2 years, we had that much high growth due to favorable policies by the current president of Tanzania, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. Our GDP is projected to grow to USD 136.1 billion by 2028. This is IFM projection. And when we get there, Tanzania will be the largest economy in East Africa region. So Tanzania is a very peaceful country, and it is politically and socially stable. We have also low inflation rate. In January 2024, it was in 3.0%. We have a booming youth and stable labor force. 75% of our population are youth under 35 years old. That's 75%. And we have access to sizable markets. As a country, we have a population of almost 61.7 million people, but we are a member of free trade areas of East African Cooperation and Southern African Development Cooperation, EAC and SADC. These two markets have combined a population of almost 400 million people with combined GDP of USD 823 billion US dollar. We are also a party to African Free Trade Area Agreement, which has a population of close to 1.3 billion people and combined GDP of USD 3.4 trillion. So we have, when someone does business in Tanzania, they are going to have access to all these markets because we are in the free trade area agreements with all these markets. Tanzania is a gateway to 8 countries. Like we are bordering 8 countries, 6 which are landlocked. So they depend on Tanzania. They are using our ports because these 6 countries are landlocked. We have attractive investment environment. There is a well-balanced package of incentives to investors, and we have been receiving positive ratings from international rating companies. For instance, in May 2023, Moody's Investor Service assigned Tanzania B2 positive rating. In June 2023, Fitch Ratings assigned Tanzania B positive with stable outlook. And we expect the ratings to keep on going up because of the things that the government is doing right now. Tanzania has made significant investment in our infrastructure and implemented comprehensive reforms to improve the investment climate. Notable regulatory reforms undertaken in the past 2 years include, we are talking about the past 2 years because that's when the new president came into power. I mean, she's a reformist. So that's why when you see we are talking about from 2021 or past 2 years, because that's when she came to power. So the notable reforms that we have undertaken in the past 2 years include abolishing more than 232 fees and fines that were obstacle to businesses in various sectors. We have amended 40 laws and regulations to improve business regulatory framework. We have established the Tanzania Investors Electronic Single Window to facilitate investment-related applications such as certification, permits, licenses, and authorizations. And we have enacted a new investment law of 2022. The old law was the old law we were using was of 1997. So many things have changed. So we had to enact a new law, which is very friendly to business. And in October 2023, Tanzania and US government signed commercial dialogue to promote deeper commercial and investment ties between private sector of the two countries. The commercial dialogue aim at improving like business relations between the two countries. So if there is some misunderstanding or any challenge that, like these businesses are facing, maybe US businesses in Tanzania or Tanzania businesses in the US are facing, so the commercial dialogue would convene and try to discuss to resolve those challenges. And in April 2023, Tanzania and US Exim Bank signed a memorandum of understanding worth USD 500 million to deepen trade of goods and services. And right now, Tanzania and NIMED are negotiating MOU to facilitate business connections between the two countries. So as it has already been said that we are targeting 5 sectors: agriculture, travel and tourism, technology, manufacturing, and healthcare. So I'll highlight some of the situation of some of these sectors in Tanzania. Agriculture sector. Tanzania has 44 million hectares of arable land, of which 29.4 million is suitable for irrigation. Tanzania ranks among Africa's top 5 producers of rice, coffee, tea, cloves, cashew nuts, and dry beans. Tanzania is the 2nd largest producer of honey in Africa, and export revenue from the agricultural sector in 2022 was at USD 1.2 billion. In travel and tourism, Tanzania is ranked first in, World Economic Forum report of 2021 ranked Tanzania as first in Africa and 12th in the world on nature-based tourism. There are so many tourist attractions in Tanzania. I know you might know some: Serengeti, Ngorongoro, Kilimanjaro, highest mountain in Africa, Zanzibar, beaches, and all that. So, and our top sources of tourists are Kenya. Of course, Kenya is our neighbor. Burundi is our neighbor. But so the first is Kenya, Burundi, USA, France, and Germany. But as you can see, apart from the 2 neighbors, US is our top destination outside Africa. And the revenue from travel and tourism sector in 2023 was at USD 3.2 billion. Technology. Tanzania is positioning itself as regional ICT hub. The government has invested in an 8,310 kilometers, equals to 5,164 miles of fiber optic cable network. Tanzania is ranked 2nd in Africa and 1st in East African region on effective use of ICT in delivering public services. This is according to World Bank's Government Tech Maturity Index report of 2022. In manufacturing sector, Tanzania is Africa's 4th largest producer of cotton and world's 4th largest producer of organic cotton. Tanzania exports textile and apparel to the US under the AGOA program. Consumer market steadily growth at 5% in household final expenditure since 2016. Healthcare sector. Tanzania imports 80% medicines, 90% medical devices, and 100% diagnostics. Our medical store department, Tanzania's medical store department, is a bulk supplier for the SADC region. Estimated value of opportunity in the medicine and medical devices market is estimated at between USD 800 million to 1 billion USD. Next slide. So I'll state short in a nutshell Tanzania's trade statistics. These are 2022 figures. So our total exports were at USD 11.59 billion. Of those, goods export were at USD 6.82 billion and services export were at USD 4.76 billion. And total imports were at USD 16.95 billion, whereby goods imports were USD 15.65 billion and services imports were USD 1.32 billion. Our top exports are gold, Tanzanite, coffee, cashew nuts, horticulture products, tobacco, clothes, rice, textile and apparel, personal travel and transportation. And as you can see the chart, Tanzania's export markets and import markets, our top partners here, exports is India, South Africa, UAE, Kenya, Switzerland, China, Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and others. And import markets, China, United Arab Emirates, India, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Japan, Kenya, United States, Turkey, Germany, and others. Next slide. Oh, okay. I think I'm done. Thank you so much.
Well, good morning. That was a lot of information, and I'm going to drill down. My name is Leah Henry. I lead the Research Policy and Impact Center at the Institute for Minority Economic Development. And our role in this venture is to make sure that we have really good information about the import and export opportunities between the various states and the country of Tanzania. So I will go over, for this webinar, North Carolina and Kentucky opportunities. We will be producing similar information for every state for which we will be having a webinar and for the United States as a whole. One of the things that I thought was very interesting from the previous information that the Charge d'Affaires shared with us is that the United States is not even in the list of the top 10 in terms of the export markets. And we are in the top 10, but too low on the import markets. So there's a lot of room for growth there. So what we've done is looked at the top North Carolina exports. These are the exports internationally for North Carolina throughout the world. So not specifically to Tanzania, but for the world as a whole. And you'll see that we start with pharmaceutical products. We've got industrial machines and computers, electrical machinery and parts. So these are all going to be parts that are going into other industrial uses, chemical products, plastics, and plastic articles, which are made out of chemicals. Pearls, coins, precious stones, and metals is an odd combination, but that's kind of the way that the government combines them. So it's going to be a lot of, primarily for us, metals. Optical, photographic, and medical instruments, aircraft, spacecraft, and associated parts, and vehicles and parts. And so those are the top North Carolina exports, according to the state of North Carolina's information. When you compare them to what Tanzania is importing and can import from the United States, you'll see that there's a tremendous synergy with machinery, with parts for boring and sinking, airplane and helicopter parts, agricultural products, of course, lead acid accumulators, cereals, telecom equipment, diagnostics and laboratory reagents, horticultural products, turbo propellers, plastics, human vaccines, and other consumer supplies. I think that what was very instructive for me is that this aligns so well with Tanzania's own focus on the medical arena, and machinery and construction. So if we move over to Kentucky, we'll see a lot of the same exports, but Kentucky does have a different mix of international exports, starting with aircraft engines and parts, anti-sera and other blood fractions. So this is going to be related to pharmaceuticals and medical care, and then composite diagnostic and lab reagents, automobiles. Kentucky is a tremendous exporter and manufacturer of vehicles of all kinds, from automobiles through heavy equipment and mining equipment, livestock products. Once again, we see trucks, soybeans, medicines, and whiskeys. So I thought that was really interesting to see how important whiskey exporting around the world is to Kentucky's economy. And those exports can be compared to the same list here for Tanzania. A couple things that I wanted to mention about these lists. Tobacco and cotton are important agricultural products and exports for the states of North Carolina and Kentucky, as well as for the country of Tanzania. So we did not really emphasize them, even though they're important exports for us, because they were not necessarily, we felt like, some of the best opportunities for exporting and importing raw materials. However, they are a tremendous opportunity for value-added production, machinery, and innovation in agricultural development. We also thought that the main takeaways from these lists are that there are tremendous opportunities in machinery and vehicles to do value-added production for the mining and agricultural industry in Tanzania. The medical technology, pharmaceutical, medicine exporting to Tanzania is the tremendous opportunity, but also the opportunity to export technology, innovation, and human skill to increase Tanzania's ability to produce and export medicines itself. The third theme was innovation and capacity building, and the opportunity to not only export and sell services and sell products in Tanzania, but also services to increase on-the-ground capacity to produce machinery for Tanzania's domestic production. So what we will do going forward is continue to build on this information and take your questions and further inquiries to drill down if there are certain areas of export that rise to the top in terms of the interest of those who will be attending the trip.
Thank you, Leah. And so in terms of participants we're expecting to share with us and go with us on this trip, we're breaking those participants into three main groups. The first group is what we're calling Gold Key. That is a term that, or a category that's used by the U.S. Department of Commerce. Those organizations are vetted by the Department of Commerce. They generally have some exporting experience. They have worked with other countries before, and so they tend to be much larger and have that international experience. The benefit of having the Gold Key status is that the U.S. Department of Commerce will actually coordinate and support you in meetings with both government and corporations to make sure you're successful in your procurement opportunities. And so that's a small group of 10 to 12 companies that we expect to be in that group. The second and largest group will have more of a ENC experience. So for those of you who've attended the Executive Networking Conference that we always host in Pinehurst, you'll see a very similar experience to that. These are those who want to explore opportunities, understand more of the culture of the country, where opportunities may be. We'll have corporations from Tanzania who will participate with us in sessions. We will have government sessions or government focus sessions, as well as corporate focus sessions to talk about some of the opportunities that are available, as well as the process that will be used through the buying and selling process. So it'll just give you a whole lot more understanding and overview of what the expectations will be of doing business in Tanzania. That third group are what we're calling stakeholders. Those are organizations or individuals who support minority and women-owned businesses. They could be in government, they could have their own consulting business, they could be with a nonprofit, but we're expecting them to come with us as well, because they'll be those champions that can reinforce the messages and also make sure we have a well-rounded group of individuals in the second group who go with us. And so those are the three groups that will be targeted for this trip. From a logistics perspective, which I think I'm doing this slide too, the one thing I forgot to mention, y'all charge it to my 50-plus-year-old age, but one of the things I failed to mention earlier was, I know for many of you, when we first started talking about the trip to Tanzania, we were initially talking about this being held in July of 2024. Well, we've received quite a bit of feedback from corporate sponsors, as well as many of you, minority and women-owned business owners, who said it would be great if we had more time to save up for this trip, more time to prepare for the trip. And it feels rushed for us to do it in July. And I'm sure some of you, if you had your cameras on and I could see you, you'd probably be nodding your head, yep, that's right. And so after consulting with this group on the planning committee, we decided to push it back to 2025. And so we're targeting March the 10th through the 14th of 2025, which gives you an opportunity to prepare. We're still going to be in the host city of Dar es Salaam. Our venue will be the Hyatt Regency. And that's important because it is what we're familiar with it being an American hotel. So we wanted to have some similarities and things that you will be familiar with while you're there. Given some of you, this will be your first trip to Tanzania and maybe even the continent. And so if you look at our agenda at a glance, the thought is that first day is travel to Tanzania. It's a long trip, so we'll spend time just getting there and giving your body a chance to adjust to a different location. The second day is really focused on Tanzania. And what we mean by that is doing business in Tanzania, the legalities, the fees, the cultural awareness of the country, and what you can expect from Tanzania. The second day is the reverse. It is now U.S. focused. So what resources and support can you expect from the U.S. government, from the Institute, from sister cities and others who will be a part of this? But that's what we'll focus on that third day. We'll talk a little bit about Gold Key. We'll talk about resources that are available. Make sure you have the intelligence around the commodities that you sell or you want to buy and resell in America. Because one of the things I hope you all heard, and it was very intentional that we set this session up the way we did, because we wanted you to hear what the country is importing and exporting. And so for many of you, as you think about what else could I sell to the country, but also what can I resell in America? We wanted you to have a real good understanding of where the opportunities are. That fourth day is about cultural awareness and experience. You can't go to Tanzania and not engage in the culture, the arts, and all of the beautiful things the country has to offer. And so we wouldn't dare go to Tanzania and not experience that. Ms. Mark mentioned earlier all of the travel and tourism attractions that are available there, and we want to take advantage of some of those while we're there. And so that's what that fourth day will be focused on. We'll wind down with some exciting events that night as we just think through and celebrate what we've experienced. And then that fifth day, we're coming back to America. But we're not just coming back, we're coming back now armed and ready to do business. So this isn't just an excursion. This is about how we prepare to do business abroad. So I hope you all are even more excited now listening to us and understanding what the trip is about. And I think we have some time now. Kay, were you gonna make any comments, or we're gonna go right into Q&A?
I'm going to cover if you're interested, how to get prepared.
Perfect.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Kay Gant, Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer for the Institute. Welcome. We've had up to 56 participants on this call, so that's extremely exciting. We want to get into a little bit of how you get prepared. If you're interested in this trip or excursion to Tanzania, we want you to have an understanding of what the cost and other information that you would need as you prepare for this journey. Right now, we estimate the cost per person to be between $6,000 and $7,000. And the reason why we have a gap there, the unknown to us right now, is the flight. We have engaged a travel agent that's negotiating on behalf of the group. So once we know what the flight costs would be, then we can narrow those numbers, but we feel confident that the cost of this trip per participant will range between $6,000 and $7,000. That fee will include your hotel, flight, event registration, ground transportation in Tanzania, all your participant materials once you arrive on site in Tanzania. There will be options. We will have 3 options for a cultural experience that will include, for example, if you want to stay pretty local, shopping, etc., or you can choose an option that may include touring the Serengeti or what have you. Event meals and receptions are included. Also, the travel agent. We have a travel agent in the US, and we will have a travel agent as boots on the ground in Tanzania. And we also have event planning fees that we would need to cover as well. We're looking at and working on a payment option. So our goal is to open registration by June of 2024. That way, whatever payment option structure we set up, you've got time to make payments on this trip. So it's not a lump sum hit to any particular budget. What will not be included in that fee is visa. Tanzania does require folks entering the country to have a visa. You will need to apply. The cost for the visa is $100. What we're going to do later, once we have an interest of who all will be going with us, we will send you an email with the full details of how to apply for a visa, what the steps, what information you need to have ready before you access the portal. Also, I noticed on the portal, it does not take Discover or American Express, so you will need a MasterCard or Visa to process the charge. We also, what is not included is CDC recommended immunizations. You will need to check the CDC website to find out what immunizations they recommend. And then, of course, follow up with your local healthcare provider to make sure you take care of that. Next slide. So immediately following this session, when you close out, you're going to receive a survey. The survey is literally only 3 questions. It takes you less than a minute. That will allow us to gauge the interest of this particular group. Once you send we receive the responses of the surveys that says, yes, I'm interested, then that's going to queue us up to send you additional information as more information becomes available to us. So the registration link we hope will launch. Our goal is to launch it in June 2024. We will have a travel agent to assist those participants interested in going with us to Tanzania. I've already mentioned the visa requirements and the CDC immunization requirements. I just wanted to reiterate, if you have questions regarding anything that we've covered, please put your questions in the Q&A box. And when we thank you, I am going to stop here and let Kevin speak a few minutes, and I'm going to start filtering through the questions. Kevin, I'm going to read the questions out loud, and then Rhonda or Saeed or others on the call are welcome to answer. Just let me know when you're ready for me to start.
All right. I think one of the questions that I heard or saw earlier in the chat was, would this presentation be made available to you all?
Yes.
The answer to that is yes. We will make it available to you. We also, as many of you know, have a YouTube channel, and we will post this on our YouTube channel as well. So you'll have access to it that way.
All right, I'm going to start reading the questions. We are a North Carolina-based pharmaceutical exporter currently exporting to 4 African countries. What resources are available for us to export to Tanzania? We have found the health pharma regulations in Tanzania very hard for a small business. This is from Eric.
Ms. Mark, do you want to field that question?
I'm not going to attempt to answer that question because I feel it's very technical. What I would say is, what I would advise is for Eric to write to us, and we'll respond it within 2 or 3 days, so that we contact relevant authorities back home and know what's happening, because he has the question. I don't know, where is it again? As it said that like there are some obstacles, so we are not aware of that right now, but we ask for more time, like maybe 2 days. We contact relevant authorities back home and we'll provide an answer. So I'll type our email address here, and I would be glad also to receive his email address so that we can respond, or we can respond it through you. I don't know which is the best way to do.
Okay, what we'll do, Linda, Vanessa, if you make a note of Eric's question, and we'll get it over to, yes, thank you. We'll get it to you in an email so you can follow up accordingly. All right, thank you. The next question is from Nicole. What are opportunities in travel and tourism?
And so the thought is, we don't want to overwhelm you all with just an enormous amount of choices, because part of how we get the best price is making sure we have as many people as possible participating in the sessions or the travel and tourism opportunities. So that's why we limited it to 3. We're still working through what those 3 choices will be, but we are thinking the Serengeti. We've heard about that as an opportunity. We are thinking about some type of shopping excursion there locally. So you can have opportunity to do that, and one other. So if you all have suggestions or things that you would like to do while you're there, that could help inform my decision on that. So feel free to put those in the chat box as well, so we can consider those opportunities.
Thank you. So we have another question around travel and tourism from Linda. Can you please share more information, opportunities, what city in the US are most tourists coming from, and what age group? Worn clothes import, please expound on that.
So we are not sure about the cities, but we know the age group is usually from 44 up. That's the age group. I don't know why that's the case, that because we want everyone, no matter the age, to visit Tanzania, but so far the age group is from 44 years old going up. Regarding the cities, we're not sure about that. We will check with relevant authorities back home if they have information on that, but I think it will be difficult because what they check there is like you're from the passports, you're from which country, US. I don't think they check the cities. And it's also difficult for us at the embassy to know, because as you know, all visas are online visas. We also don't check like which cities, but we focus on the countries of origin. But we will check if they have that information and we'll share.
Thank you. The next question is from David. Good morning. DGL Logistics exports equipments and parts to South Africa and Malaysia. We are a Hub North Carolina certified minority business in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tanzania seems like a huge opportunity. How can we get more information on how to engage in Tanzania? You are already there by joining this webinar. Kevin, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, you can get more information by joining us March of 2025, because that's what we're going to be talking about while we're there. And you seem like the perfect opportunity for Tanzania in equipment and parts. And you have some international experience already. So you may even be a good choice in terms of the gold key, good candidate for gold key. So I would say, David, to circle around with us. If you haven't experienced gold key already, we'd love to connect you and help you get that status.
Thank you, Kevin. Nicole, what about education, training, professional development opportunities?
Yeah, there are opportunities there too. But I don't know if we haven't discussed those because it's not the focus of this summit to Tanzania today, but we'll share that too.
All right. Our next question is Bettina. Good day. Excited to be here. Beautiful presentation. Honored to be in the room and looking forward to the experience. So welcome, Bettina. We look forward to following up with you.
And can I just add something, Kay, to that?
Yes, absolutely.
We've gotten some questions already from several business owners that may say, can I make this a dual benefit to me? So in other words, I'm coming for business, but I may bring my spouse or significant other, and they're just coming because they want to experience it from a culture perspective and the travel and tourism piece. So while I may be sitting in sessions, they may be out doing some kind of excursion locally, which is perfect for us. I mean, that's great. Some are going to come because they want the more of the experience and the travel and tourism piece. Others may come because they want to understand more of the business opportunities. Both fit this trip very well. So I don't want you all to think, if you have a significant other or another relative that would love to go with us that they can't because we're just focused on business. It's really open for both.
Thank you, Kevin. The next question is from Margaret. How will participants be selected? Will there be an application process, first come, first served?
So we are limiting the amount of slots available to go with us on this trip. We're thinking we're going to probably be less than 100 that will go with us. Some of it will be first come, first serve, but also it's important that we match commodities and services to what Tanzania needs. So I would say don't wait. Go ahead and get started with the process as soon as you can, so we can start matching you up with what the country needs. One of the things that's a pet peeve for me is for people to go through trainings and events and spend money, and then you don't get anything from it, and you really don't see any value for your business. So we're going to try really hard to make sure there's real value. If you're going to spend $6,000, you feel like you got your money's worth. So I want to make sure we're matching you up with what the country needs.
Thank you. Next question from Deidre. I am SAM certified WBE MBE insurance broker firm that has approved to write insurance for the Department of Defense to include all embassies. Do you think I have a place on the bus? Kevin?
I think there's a place on the bus for everybody. Even if no other reason, the other minority and women-owned businesses that are going with us are going to need insurance services. So I think there'll be plenty of opportunities for everyone as we think through how we export more to the country, import into the country, how we protect those assets as they're moving across the water. How do we protect the individuals who are working in those sectors? So there'll be plenty of opportunities, I think, from an insurance perspective.
Thank you. Danica, I'm interested to know what are the primary services that are exported or imported to from Tanzania?
Yeah, so Tanzania's major exports to the US, as I already said, textile materials, cotton, coconuts, minerals, cocoa beans, precious stones, tobacco, black tea, beans, vegetable axes, and our major imports from the US like include machineries, cereals, plastics, mining products, worn clothes, aeroplanes, helicopters, pharmaceuticals, and other diagnostic or laboratory equipment.
Thank you. Also, what I'd like to add is if you were late joining the call, the presentation covers a good bit of that information, and we will be making that available to all the participants. Next question, Deidre, she says, we're also located in North Carolina. We would love to offer insurance coverage in Tanzania. So I think Kevin has already welcomed you, Deidre, so we look forward to chatting with you further. The next question is, what are the opportunities to help nonprofit organizations with fundraising communications and marketing? This is from Joan. Kevin, did you want to try to answer that?
I think that's probably one we should take offline and just talk
Okay.
about that more specifically.
Okay.
Let's let Joan, when we circle around, if you just put your contact information in there, maybe an email address, we'll reach out to you and chat offline about that. more specifically.
Thank you. Sharonetta, thanks for sharing the exciting opportunities ahead. She was excited to be with us, so that was a random question. Sharon? Okay, Sharon is just giving us some additional information. She says there are small business resources available through the SBA, including specific loans and educational processes for businesses who are new to exporting. Obviously, with the Institute and the Women's Business Centers, we can help to connect small businesses to those US-based small business supports. Let's see, Charles. Charles, if you sit still with us, he says, I missed today's starting time. Can I join the next info sharing date on February 20th? Yes, you may. We look forward to it. Ashley, we are a woman-owned social entrepreneur with a coffee and tea business and would like to be able to import coffee, tea, moringa, and tea herbs. We need strategic partnerships to learn how to import, bring together other coffee and tea businesses, and funding. What are the next steps to create strategic partnerships?
That is the perfect opportunity for you to go on this trip with us, Ashley. One of the reasons why we have a CDFI is to make sure you have resources, but we do want to talk about partnerships. The Institute is being very intentional with the country of Tanzania around creating an MOU. And part of that MOU will be to make those linkages and connects. So when I talked about vetting the MWBEs earlier, that's part of what I was talking about, was how do we make sure we're connecting you with the country and what they need, but also you having opportunity to engage in importing product. So more to come on that.
Thank you, Kevin. Sherry, our training and development and opportunity of business opportunity. Our training and development and area of business opportunity.
Sherry, you may want to tell us more in terms of what type of training and development, because that's kind of broad. So if you can share a little bit more with us on that, maybe Ms. Mark can give you a little bit more feedback.
Okay, and Nicola says, what about education, training, professional development opportunity? I think that will be the same. Kevin, would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Charles, what are the opportunities available for technology partnerships? And technology is one of those target industries that we're supporting on this in this summit.
Yeah, we will share more information regarding that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So also for these questions, one of the reasons why we ask you to put it in the Q&A box, because we can archive these questions and be able to follow up with the different individuals. So if we don't get to all the questions today, we will continue the follow-up even after the presentation. But we have a few more minutes for Q&A, so we'll keep it moving. Okay, Rashawn said, interesting. My daughter wanted to go for her 21st birthday last year. Okay. Maybe you all can make it this year. Joyce Davis, another travel and tourism question. Is there an opportunity to provide travel services, air hotel activities still open to travel agencies? I am a travel agency owner with more than 25 years experience. Joyce, I would offer that right now we have already engaged a travel agent. However, once we have an opportunity to narrow the scope of everything we need to provide, there may be an opportunity to bring on a second. But I don't know that at this time, but just, I will make sure that I keep your name handy just in case.
And Joyce, I would add to that, this isn't the last trip we're gonna make to Tanzania. So there could be opportunities in the future, with us in that space. I will tell you, the travel agent we chose is NMSDC certified, because that was important to me that we're using a minority and woman-owned, certified business. So she is both.
Great. Kevin, David said he will get in touch with you regarding Gold Key. Nicole is looking forward to learning more. Jay says, morning and thank you. I'm seeking opportunities to work with utility land acquisitions for the upcoming developments. Will there be information on this? So will there be any information forthcoming on utility land acquisitions?
Well, we've got your question. And so we'll make sure we field it and think through how best to make sure we are responding to your question and keep opportunities available for you. So we'll explore it, we'll address it for sure.
Okay, so Charles was saying that he missed the starting time. So yes, Charles, you'll need to get the registration link and register for February 20th. Okay.
And if I'm seeing some patterns in terms of several of you who are in the same industry or the same space, so that'll help us as we think through sessions that we're going to offer and who we invite to come and share information about those sessions. So I appreciate you all giving us a little bit more detail, so we'll be prepared for you in March.
Mm-hmm. Next question, what's your target number to go? I think Kevin mentioned earlier, in the Gold Key space, 10 to 12. General attendance is around 70. But again, once we close out this session, you will receive a very brief survey, and we're going to take the interest from all of those surveys, and then that will allow us to determine what we need in terms of capacity. So we set the number at 70 or 80, but if the interest turns out to be more than that, we may be able to make some adjustments.
That's right.
Please share more concerning tea, coffee, Tanzanite opportunities. This is from Linda.
I don't know if can they clarify more, like, because those are opportunities available for business. I mean,
Okay.
so what do they want to know, like how to do business in those products?
In those areas, that's what it sounds like. So what we'll do is, again, these questions are archived, and we'll carve out those questions that are very specific and send those over to your team, and then you can follow up with them that way.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
It says, can local Tanzania professionals be able to attend the sessions if they are in the country? The question is yes, absolutely. And that's why we have an event planner on the ground in Tanzania to help us facilitate that process.
And there actually will be quite a few local business owners there with us. They're just as excited about meeting you all and collaborating and partnering with you all as well. So we're excited about that piece.
Okay. Okay, Mick Alexander, there is another question about worn clothing. What are the possible opportunities surrounding this?
Yeah, like many people, especially young people, like these clothes. So there are is a big market there, and most of them come from the US. So most of the warm clothes which are sold there come from the US. So there is a big market there.
All right, I'm filtering through. Okay, Lisa.
Go ahead.
Okay, keep me on time now, Kevin. I've got about 3 more minutes. What are the opportunities for frozen dairy products, ice cream to Tanzania? Is there a market for it to be imported into the country?
The market is there because, as you know, the weather there is tropical, so it's hot. So anything cold, frozen has a huge market there.
Are there opportunities in IT project management?
Yeah, there should be. Yeah, we'll get into specifics when you send us these questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anything that's specific to a service or a product or service, I am going to scroll through and we will get those over to your team.
Sure.
Just trying to.
I think this is a good time to wrap it up.
All right.
So you all, I really appreciate you participating today. This is exciting for us to now expand beyond just the boundaries of the U.S. and open up markets abroad. You know, I told a group recently that, you know, sometimes we're beating our heads against the wall trying to get corporations, U.S. corporations, to buy a product, when if we just go across the water, we have those who want to buy your product. They're seeking to buy from American minority and women-owned businesses. And one of the things the ambassador mentioned to me is she said, where are the minority businesses? That's who I want to see more activity with. And so we're really focused on that and making sure we create opportunities for you, make sure you have the resources you need, the connections you need, the government support you need to be successful. So hang with us. There are going to be more sessions. You all are welcome to join those sessions in the future. We are trying to tailor them a little bit to the state, but we're going to open up more later in the year that will be more generic as we engage others across the country who are also expressing an interest in going with us on this trip. So I would suggest to you, start saving your coins now. Go ahead and register now. Don't wait, because once we hit our critical mass number of saying that's it, that'll be it. And what the government has told us, the Department of Commerce, is that they have often turned people away from these trips. So they're going to make those individuals and businesses available to us as well. So we already know we're going to start getting hits on registration pretty quickly once it opens in June. So you all have a leg up. Go ahead and start getting prepared, and more to come very soon. Rhonda, do you have any final words? Acting Ambassador Mark, any final words?
Thank you so much, Mr. Price. I'm not yet ambassador, but thank you. Amen to that. No.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, we're just thankful for this session. It's already exciting. It looks like the summit will be very successful, and we are looking forward to receiving the questions, those specific questions, and we're going to provide the responses, and we are looking forward to participating in the upcoming sessions too. So we thank you for your support and your cooperation. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Kevin. I apologize for the delay.
This is Rhonda here. We are just again excited for the opportunity, looking forward to the collaborations that all of us are going to have with the businesses to business, the opportunity for getting to know more about Tanzania. The U.S. Department of Commerce.
Rhonda, you're breaking up.
Sorry. The conference will be having upcoming events to actually talk about exporting specifically. So we will be sharing that information as well. And that'll be coming in the next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Okay, any final thoughts?
No, sir. We're going to again collect the questions and get answers out for those that we were not able to answer on air. So look forward to those within the next 24 to 48 hours. Also, just as a reminder, when you leave the session, there will be a brief survey. Please complete the survey because that allows us to then track the interest and then stay in touch with you accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great place to stop. So thank you, everyone. You all have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you in Tanzania in March of 2025.